project is going along. It has its bumps, part of the fun, but it is moving along, and we're getting things done. The next project, the Thornwood Culvert. There were 3 right-of-way parcels that we're purchasing. We have 2 of those purchases complete. Actually, one was a donation. The other was a purchase of only $300. And the final parcel, because the property is in foreclosure, we have to do an appropriation through the court system. And what I would like to do is discuss that plus another item under in an executive session, if I could, at the end of the meeting very quickly. We're looking at bidding that project in July, and it should be done by mid to late September. And it is possible that Thornwood Drive could be closed in that section from 14 to 21 days, depending on weather and the speed of the contractor and things like that.
When are they looking to close that again?
We're looking at probably sometime in August. This is when the closure will actually be. They'll bid the project in July.
Will it be open before school starts?
Probably not. It's possible. It's possible.
You say you looking for it finished at late August?
What we're looking at is they're going to bid the project and award the contract in July.
Okay.
The contractor will probably begin in August, which means the closure will begin in August. And we hope to have it open maybe by the end of August, but more probably September sometime. So
Let's just make sure we get with
the school
Tom Foreman
Oh,
and
yeah.
also
Lakewood. Yeah. So we're moving on that project. The Thornwood paving project. This is a multi-jurisdictional project because it involves 4 jurisdictions. And when you do projects like this, they're harder to do because you've got to get the cooperation of all 4 jurisdictions. We've already signed our agreement to cooperate. Brian Moorhead is working with Newark now to get theirs signed, and we think we're close to the Thornwood or the Union Township people, and the county will probably just go along for the ride on it, I think, too. So we're getting close to getting the agreement signed. That agreement signature is necessary, not just to complete the project, but also because we want to apply for Ohio Public Works Commission funding, and you have to have an agreement in place with all these jurisdictions in order to apply for the funding. If we don't get that funding, we have 2 options. One is we can all put in our portion of the money. In Heath's case, it'd probably be about $100,000, and the township probably about $75,000, and Newark and the county a lot less than that. Or we can not do the project at all. So there are plenty of options available that don't have to be made at this time. The key is to go for the grant and hope that we get it.
John, would that include the widening of it?
No, this is
So
just
that's just
paving the
paving
existing
the
width.
existing width.
Yeah, just the
Okay.
existing
Yeah,
width.
yeah.
The problem is we can't wait for the road to be widened. It's in such bad shape.
Yeah.
So we need to get it paved. Now, I hate to do that
Yeah.
because you're spending $400,000, $450,000 now to get it paved, knowing that possibly in 3 or 4 years you're going to tear it up. And the road will usually have a lifespan of 7 or 8 years before it has to be repaved again. But we're just in one of those time frames where we don't have a choice. We have to go with it. And if we can get the grants to pay for everything, then that's fine. So
this is the project that we are the primary sponsor for, right?
Yes, we're the
Newark
leader.
is the 30th Street one, is that right?
yes, Newark will be the 30th Street one.
Okay.
But this project we hope to do next summer sometime. There's no sense in having 9 or 10 projects in Heath where we're closing down most of the roads. We should leave at least one open for now. So next summer sometime we should see that begin. And in regard to the 30th Street paving project, that's another next summer project as well. And we hope to enter into a multi-jurisdictional agreement with Newark and Granville to go for an Ohio Public Works grant to cover our shares there too, although we haven't begun that yet. Any questions on Thornwood Drive? A lot's going to be happening for the next year and a half for that. Then finally, that brings us to Hopewell Drive Bridge. And at this point, ODOT is still scheduling the closure of that bridge around June 11th. We wanted to make sure we didn't interfere with school because there'd be a lot of students brokenhearted if they couldn't get to school. We don't want to break any students' heart. So we're looking at June 11th, and hopefully the project will be done by the time school opens again.
So, last of August, 1st September.
Well, yeah, right in there, depending on weather and materials and everything else.
Seth, before I forget, when do you plan on leaving this evening to go cover Newark's meeting?
I just have to be there by the beginning at 7,
Okay.
and really, whenever the committee meetings are over, I'm gonna leave.
Okay. Let's try to get on the calendar, let's get Seth in here this week so we can
At your
go over all
convenience.
this information, okay? And, maybe this weekend or something on something.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm available anytime but tomorrow morning.
I'm thinking maybe, have Eddie work on, some sort of a map or something that might,
Sure.
that,
Okay. I'd have to, if we're gonna do it this week, I'd have to meet by Wednesday. I'm off Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
Or,
Okay.
and if we do it next week, I still think that'll be plenty of time if we run it by the 20th.
You guys set up the
Okay.
time. That's fine.
okay, all right.
So we'll figure out this
I don't
week.
think tomorrow looks good, but Wednesday might be okay. Oh, okay.
So for the projects I'm handling or mishandling, that's about all we're doing right now. Item number 2, the mayor brought to my attention that I did misspell Holiday Inn, the Holiday Inn Express. Eddie and I stopped in there about a week ago and talked to the manager, who was the only person there. She indicated they were finalizing the situation with their insurance company, and they should begin refurbishing it very shortly and hope to be open in about a month. So, yeah, I want to see that open too. It looks terrible being closed like that. Item number 3, Youth and Government Day. Tim had already started talking about that. What I did, if you don't mind, is I went ahead and published the tour schedule, if you'd like to pass that around, for Friday. And if you look closely, the people that have the council people are slightly different in their tour schedule than the non-council people. Because on Friday, I think they meet here before lunch, and that's about the only difference. So,
Also, I saw that first thing in the morning, we get to take them to the wastewater plant. So that'll be good right after breakfast.
yeah, and it's, and also, I made sure that it's Eddie's turn, I don't know if anyone, it's
Yeah,
Eddie's
go ahead.
turn to take my group this year. So I'll be having a nice breakfast.
Yeah. And John, we usually end up changing this about every year, and I never get to you to change it, but essentially, we don't go to we don't have a thing that says we go to the street department, but we work in, get to the street
We
department.
just go.
You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
right,
We-
because you had to
we
go
go
about one
quick.
thing.
We just kind of do stuff a little
As you can
quicker,
do it.
faster, and as long as we don't hit where the other groups are there, we always.
Last
end
year,
up
did
getting
we swing by street after wastewater?
Yep. We just went up and
Did
kind
we
of.
go up and do that, or did we come
Yeah.
back to it or something? I can't
No,
remember.
we just,
Yeah,
well,
I
we
just
went
think we
to
went up.
wastewater, we just swung up
Okay.
around.
Yeah.
In theory, you have to give up one in order to come back here to get set up for the council meeting. But if you can get it in and squeeze your times, that's fine.
Yeah, we somehow.
What's group 5 and 6 doing from 11:20 to 11:50?
They're here,
They're here.
working on, for the council meeting that
To
afternoon.
set up
Oh,
their
okay.
council meeting,
Okay.
see.
We go
And then
through it
we
again,
Go from here over
Practice,
to,
and then we go over and eat lunch.
over
And
to Firehouse.
Oh,
Plus,
I
we
see
tour
that now.
here. Plus, now sometimes on Thursday we have time. We can do the tour here, and that frees up more time on Thursday also. Just depends on how busy we are Thursday.
Unfortunately, Nick from the wastewater plant's not here this evening with us, but I asked him Friday to make sure that the digesters were working for us, working on stuff for us that day. So.
But you're cruel. And Tim, if you need any help from us with anything, let me know. We'll get it set up for you. We'll give you whatever you need.
Yeah, we'll be all right. Same. As long as all the department heads and
They all.
other
talked
people that's involved with cars,
We talked about that today.
they all show up
What time do you want them to meet?
before 8 o'clock on
Before
Friday.
8 o'clock, okay.
Because I'd like to force us to be able to start at 8, because that's when it says here, like,
Right.
and some of these you have to have a little travel time to get to
Yeah,
them. So
yeah.
if we can all be there, 10 or 15 minutes before 8,
Okay.
so that you're hopefully in the cars and driving away, right at 8 or a little before and stuff. So
At the
that'll work
middle
out.
school.
Yeah, at the middle school. Yes, that'd work out great.
Okay.
And make sure all of them have,
All the
one of
department
these or
has to have
something,
that.
extras of these or something.
The department heads got this information at our meeting this
Yeah,
afternoon.
That'll work.
If you need anything else, let me know. Item number 4, Julius Perry is a very nice gentleman who lives at the end of Brant Lane. And I think most of you have received complaints about his house and property over the years. And before I retire, it's my goal to clean up his property. I've only been working on it for 20 years. We've gotten a lot of complaints, and the property's actually gotten worse because in responding to some of my violations, he's actually made things worse. However, anyone going by there in the last week or so will notice that a lot of the garbage has been cleaned up. He actually got these huge garbage hoppers, and he just filled and removed the second one today. And that pile of garbage, the big pile, has been reduced tremendously, although he's still got a lot to go. He's made significant progress. I saw him at Walmart about 2 weeks ago, and I told him it was that or jail, that I couldn't give him any more time, and that seemed to inspire him to get it done. And he's an older person, he's on a limited income, he's in poor health, he's got a tremendous problem. So he's not one person that I want to have to take before the prosecutor and the judge again. And I don't want to, you know, and hopefully it won't go that far. So, but he is cleaning it up, Cletus. If you've gone by, you'll see there's a big difference. He's got a lot to go. And the problem is to keep him going so he doesn't slow down, but he is doing it.
Does he have, first of all, he's under court order right now to do it.
Yes,
right?
he is.
Okay.
Yes.
Does he have certain benchmarks that he has to meet? Like, you have to have X% cleaned up by this time, X plus Y% by this time, or this section needs to be done by this date, and this section too I mean,
Yes.
He has benchmarks that he needs to be meeting?
He's had benchmarks. As a matter of fact, the end of April was the benchmark for cleaning up the mess. And when I saw him and I said the end of April was a week away, he started to get inspired, and he did it. He has another benchmark later on in the summer, in theory, to finish residing his house and finishing that, which I don't think he's going to meet, just personally. I don't think he will. But he has had benchmarks, and what I have been doing over the last year is periodically sending him letters saying your time is getting closer, reminding him.
Were the benchmarks established by the court?
No, they weren't. They were established by me.
Okay.
So, and
So if he doesn't meet them, then you report to the court that
Yes.
he hasn't met them?
that's right.
Okay.
He did meet the first benchmark, which was cleaning up about 12 to 13 junk vehicles. Only though because of enforcement by the court. And the second benchmark is cleaning up the rest of the property, and the third benchmark is finishing his house. The third benchmark has me concerned more than anything else. But I mean, if he can get the first two, that's a huge success for us. So anyway, we've gotten a lot of justified complaints in regard to that. That's slowly being taken care of. Okay, the next item, development prospects. Now, we seem to go through hot and cold times with development. And at this point, we don't have any plans for commercial or industrial development that we're reviewing. However, we are aware of activities in the city that do suggest we are having additional commercial development. The first area, and now I'm saying this, and you may want to verify this if you want to write anything about it, Seth, is we saw some activity at the old Carter lumber store down here. Stopped by and talked to the contractor, and he said, well, Kokonis is coming in. So, Kokonis Furniture.
Oh, okay.
And he said that they were estimating that they want to open this fall sometime. So this is the contractor talking. I haven't talked to Kokonis, so I can't 100% verify this. But that would be great because that building's been vacant for 2 or 3 years now. The second thing is we have received several phone calls about the possibility of constructing a famous footwear store. And of all places, at Cross Creek Shopping Center. And if you look at Applebee's, there's a gap between Applebee's and Carnival Food, which is about 53 feet.
No, it's in between the.
Oh, no, it's Drug Emporium, not Drug Emporium, TJ Maxx. Yeah, right, I'm sorry. They all look alike to me. The TJ Maxx store.
Obviously, you're not a Maximista.
I failed there too. I can't spell Holiday Inn, and I'm sure I can spell But anyway, between, thank you, the TJ Maxx store and the Carnival Food store, they're looking to put in a 5,000 square foot famous footwear store. We've been talking to the engineers. I don't know the schedule yet. And so, but the Castle people have more detail on that. And finally, if you are into women's cosmetics, another thing I'm not too much into.
He's shaking his head.
Okay, Keith, this one's for you.
Only at night.
There is
Get that out of us.
there is a store called Ulta, ULTA. That ULTA. Maybe Deborah knows more.
I do.
Okay. What they're doing, and the significance isn't just that the store is going into the Indian Mountain Mall, adjacent on the inside to where Dick's Sporting Goods is, but it's showing, I don't have a picture of it, but the architecture of the mall inside and outside. This is an indication of what they're trying to do with changing the appearance of the mall and upgrading it. I'm sorry, I should have brought a picture of it. They emailed it to us with some of their questions. And you know, on Dick's Sporting Goods, they took some of the exits, they windowed them in and used them for photographs and displays and stuff. We're looking at doing that with this store as well. And the picture they sent us was actually an exterior view, which showed them putting in a window in and having a picture similar to what they have with the kids playing sports and stuff in Dick's. So it seems to be an indication of where the mall wants to go with their appearance. And so it beckons new and better things for the mall. They're investing money in it. They want it to succeed. They want it to look good. They want to modernize it. So I mean, none of these things are huge, 10,000, 100,000 square foot boxes, but each one adds up, and it's a significant size when you look at it together.
What about the new grill over here?
Oh, Pappy's Bar and Grill.
Happy's Bar.
I don't have a date for their opening yet, but if you go by, you can see each day that they have made substantial improvements to the appearance of it. That siding really looks nice. It's very different.
Should let the car on the side of it.
Well, you know,
Show
now,
off the car
my
inside.
understanding is on the front part that they built onto, isn't that where they're supposed to have the things that'll roll up?
Yeah.
I mean, it'll
Yeah,
be-
yeah, an open air eating
Yeah.
area, stuff like that.
And Panera's.
Panera's, a couple more years they'll be open.
When do you say you think Pappy's will be?
I don't know when Pappy's will be open. I would guess
thought
where they're
middle of
going,
this-
maybe middle of the
of-
summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
middle of the summer.
So that's looking good there too. And then Panera's coming along, brick by brick. I know the mayor goes over every day and gives a pep talk to the crew to make them go faster. But I would guess probably they have a very brief construction schedule, and I'm just guessing now possibly maybe by the end of June they should be open up on what we're seeing. So a lot of things. This is not that big a city, and a lot of things are happening here. They're very noticeable. Any questions on that? All right. Now, the next item is a little more difficult to talk about, the bike path bridge repair. As most of you are aware, a couple months ago, when we had that
How's it going?
very heavy rainstorm, Ramp Creek flooded, and it washed out a section of the bike path that was underneath the bridge. As much as I could, I tried to blame everybody in the world and get them to pay for it. And I really wasn't successful at all. It was put into plan, the plans were done in a manner that is usually done for bike paths going underneath bridges. The problem we face, unfortunately, is that this was a special situation, a coincidence, or whatever you want to call it, and no one planned for it or designed it or constructed it with the consideration given that we could have such a severe storm and the damages that we incurred. What that means is the city is responsible for repairing the damage. There is not an option here for us to say, well, let's just leave it and close it off. When we signed our contract with ODOT, we're responsible for maintaining the path. So we just can't leave it alone and let it go. The Parks Department has cleaned it out. The problem we've got, number one, the fence has to be replaced. Number two,
You mean, well, we have the fence, it needs to be
it
put
has
back
to be
in.
replaced, yeah, put back in. To all of the, we call it riprap or dump rock, which is between the path and the water. A lot of that washed out, that has to be replaced. There are actually drains that lead from the upper area of the path down to the river that were covered by sediment. They have to be discovered again and cleaned out. And we have to do some repairs to the bike path asphalt as well. Now Bob Geller and I are kind of working on this project together, but since I was the guy who had that as a total project, I told Bob I'd come here and go through this committee. We have an estimate to do everything except install the fence and repair the asphalt that is about $11,000. What I would like to do, because we don't have costs yet for the asphalt repair and the fence, is request an appropriation of $20,000 from council. And that actually be put not towards a contractor, but in Bob's individual contract account in the Parks Department account. That way, he can write purchase orders for a variety of contractors to do a variety of things. And most of these, of course, would all be under $10,000. So we don't have to go through any requirements because we don't max out at whatever that figure is. What is it, 50,000 or where you have to go out and bid and stuff like that? 25.
John, let me ask you a question too. I haven't seen those estimates. Can you you got it right there? I'm just wondering, is there any opportunity at all if we purchase the material, is there any opportunity at all for city personnel to do any of this? To put those to put those rocks in, to you know, install the fence. I mean, is there any opportunity for us to not have a contractor do the work and have the city do the work instead?
A limited amount of work can be done by the city. The problem is you're going to need more specialized equipment than we have. The bridge is low to get in there and work in it. The fence, there's no way we can do the fence. We can probably do the asphalt repair and things like that, yes. Bob and I have talked about that. And a lot of times it's cheaper, instead of hiring one contractor to do everything, to have a contractor to do the things you can't do. You do what you can do, and then you make it 2 or 3 other smaller contractors to do the remainder. So we are thinking about doing it in that way, but we are limited to what we can do in this case on that. And so our proposal is basically, if we can appropriate $20,000, that will be enough to cover all of the repair work. And we would basically farm it out and do a little of it ourselves, but I can't sit here and promise how much we could do ourselves. So what I have here is an appropriation request, asking if council could do that.
John, are we gonna put the fence back in a little better so that the next high water event doesn't wipe it out? I mean, we're gonna put it in.
No, I think we should put it, now.
I mean, are we gonna make some modifications?
We've learned quite a bit from this, and yes, we're gonna have to, what we're hoping to do is utilize quite a bit of the existing fence, the horizontal bars and stuff like that. But the poles, we're gonna have to have poles that are about 5 feet longer than that to put much deeper into the ground. The big problem was erosion around the poles, and we're gonna have to sink them a lot deeper and anchor them somehow, so yes, yeah. And there's no way that you can guarantee that you will have a storm of sufficient force that it won't do this again. But this was a coincidence. In my history with the city over 20 years, this is only the second time that I have seen Ram Creek that high. That doesn't mean it can't happen again next week. Nature is unpredictable. But the way we want to reinstall, using bigger stone, using much deeper posts, I think our chances of suffering this kind of damage are greatly reduced should we have the same thing occur in the future.
John, is the funds, where they coming from?
I've asked them to come from capital.
Capital improvements, and you said you're just gonna put it in Bob's spot. I mean, if we don't spend it all, are we gonna be, is it coming back to capital improvements, or you're just trying to add this?
So this would be the appropriation and whatever is.
I thought you guys, you just wanted us to appropriate 20,000 directly into the.
4 words. over Bob's dead body. No. But no, that would be up to you to determine that. But, you know, we couldn't think of a better way to handle this so that there weren't a lot of strings attached to it to allow us to use multiple contractors, buy some of the material ourselves, and things like that. So I can't sit here and say that we're going to use all the money. It could be that maybe $3,000 or $4,000 is left, and then, you know, how you would like to deal with that. And Bob, you know, you guys would
Unspent money would remain in the fund.
okay.
Okay, thank you.
Just
Yeah,
that simple.
yeah.
Thank you.
I said over Bob's dead body. But, and I'm not, it's a lot easier for us to do that. And again, this is a guesstimate. Hopefully, it won't be more than this, because we try to be pessimistic in our evaluation of the cost. So, anyway, any questions on that? And then what I'll probably do too, is so we can get the repairs going, is at the next meeting, when it has its first reading, I was gonna ask you if you could waive the second and then pass it so we can get to work on the repair part. Because it is a slight danger to people, you know, even though you have it closed, people will try to use it. And we wanted to make it as safe as possible.
Rick Platt had told me a week or two ago, he has noticed more bicycle riders in that area, either coming to or leaving from work. I don't know if they're coming from this way or if they're coming down from Newark and then traveling across on the road. I don't know, but he mentioned that to me.
Do you know when we have the, each year we have a bicycle event with Granville and
Yeah, that's
Because
That's
September, October.
okay,
Yeah.
we definitely want to
It's
get this
cool.
back in shape
It's in the
and
fall.
everything before that.
First week of
Okay, yeah, so that's why we're trying to rush it.
I'm not sure, but other night, I think one of these, I call them rice burners, you know, little cars, I don't know what brand they are.
sorry, rice burners?
They're small, 4 cylinders, and they got these real loud pipes. I think he tried to cross the bridge on ramp, did cross the bridge.
The bridge was set up, designed to take an emergency vehicle like our, the
Squad.
squads. So it can support a squad, but I don't think we want to advertise that.
No.
Yeah, but, so,
I was out in the yard and I heard the noise, but I didn't have time to get over there.
yeah, human nature being what it is. So, any other questions on that? One thing not on the agenda very quickly, the Star Spangled Celebration is moving along very smoothly. I think we'll have a great event this year. And Deborah, thank you very much for this donation to the fireworks. And I believe a lot of you are probably gonna help us at the event or work the event in a booth or something like that. And I look forward to working with you on that hot, humid day. And also, I will not be present at the next council meeting. I'll be taking that week off. So, all right,
The one where we're gonna waive your,
yeah.
you need to.
Are you done, John, before we do executive?
I'm
session?
done before we do executive session.
Before we go into executive session, just so that you know, this is Emily Bradley here and Michelle Climier. Michelle's gonna be council president and Emily's on council. And I think some other of your classmates are probably coming later on for the council meeting. And I just thought maybe before we break, if anyone in the audience had any questions or if they had any questions before we go into executive session, because
Do you want to do finance first or do executive session now, John?
I would say it only take me about 10 minutes for executive session.
Is that all right with that then?
yeah, the executive session. Yeah. Well, we're gonna, for the people in the audience, we're gonna go to executive session. In other words, it's just the council and mayor. So the audience members will have to go outside for a few minutes while we do that.
This is for pending or current litigation.
Yes.
I believe that we go into executive session.
Yes.
That's the finance committee agenda that's coming.
Emily, it's your father, Bill.
Best mom in the world, too.
Motion of second, go to
Many, many
executive
years
session.
ago.
All in
Yeah,
favor,
it's
say aye.
credit union.
Aye.
That's a great job.
Okay.
Oh, I misunderstood. I thought you were gonna go ahead and do finance.
Oh.
No, we'll do executive session. It's only
Executive
gonna be about
session real
10
quick,
minutes
and
and
then
then
come
we'll
back.
do finance.
I passed all that stuff. Keep those agendas.
Hang
You
on
can
to
study
that.
them, you can go out and study them while we're,
Jeff, want to comment?
Jeff has cards.
hey Brett, are you
He
working
may
tomorrow
show
night?
up at any time.